It's Moo-Man.
Moo-Man?
This is not a dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Moo-Man. It is Moo-Man on the mic.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man once again, Moo-Man on the mic with the Initiative Podcast, okay, where we get into everything celebrity news, world news, sociology, psychology, and WTF all together. Okay. So look, shout out today to this episode is going to the black people all across the world right now, specifically in this age and time. And I'm going to tell you why I'm shouting us out, okay? We are the shout out because keep this in mind. We are dealing right now with an angry set of globalists, an angry set of established leaders, you see what I'm saying, who are dead set on creating a problem reaction solution dialectic against specifically the black population in order to create a race war. Okay, and I say specifically against us because, hey, we've been targeted since the beginning. Really, they've been having a chip on their shoulder since the Dark Ages, okay? The last millennium, if you will. All right, and that's another story. You know, that means I'm getting into the Pope later in the back of the headlines. But shout out to us for holding it down and for the ones of us who see the game. Let's get into the headline hero.
Here we go, it's the hero, the headline hero.
All right, the headline hero goes to Mental Health Awareness Month. I say again, I can't stress this enough. Mental Health Awareness Month and mental health in general is a serious situation. I'm not going to let it go, okay? Y'all have to understand, if you know anyone who is suffering from mental sensitivities, it could be anything from depression, from manic bipolar disorder, from anorexia, from bulimia, you know what I mean? Any kind of mental health disorder that affects your physicality is a serious problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? If we can, as a people, help each other through these times and through these mental sensitivities, we will be better as a people. You see what I'm saying? We can't allow each one of us to go on the wayside because we are feeling things on a mental level that may be misunderstood. You see what I'm saying? That may not be all the way there. You have to understand the trauma that we've been through, our genetic trauma, our epigenetic traumas carry on. Our ancestors shared the same blood for millions of years. The people who are hearing this podcast, me even, okay, all of us, we share the same blood. We are the living descendants of our ancestors' blood. Don't you understand what that means, ladies and gentlemen? So we have to take care of our mental health, which will then take care of our spiritual health, which will then take care of our physical health, and then our emotions, energy, and motion will follow right behind. Shout out to everyone that's dealing with mental sensitivities and they're doing the best that they can. All right, this podcast, this headline hero goes to y'all. Let's get into some headline hunting.
Great hunt. Let's do it. We on the hunt. Headline hunting.
Okay, Ashanti's being called out by the late IRV Gotti's brother, who feels the singer has downplayed what IRV and Murder Inc. did for her, okay, and her career. In recent years, Ashanti looked back at her time on the label, usually in response to public comments from Gotti, and accused the executive of manipulation during her early career. I could see that because, I mean, that was the name of the game in the time of the greats. In a new interview on the Let's Keep It 100 podcast, shout out, Chris Gotti called the singer out for what he says is disparaging what IRV did for her and for denying that she dated him. She says they wasn't in a relationship, he quotes. They was in a relationship. I was a therapist, he says. Like, come on now, don't do that. But at the end of the day, that's what makes what went on with them so real. How many people can believe that they were dating? How many? I can believe it. You see what I'm saying? He then praises Ashanti for always speaking calmly highly of IRV, noting that there aren't many people who will say nice things about their ex. He also admitted that IRV would go too far when talking about her, but defend the fact he only spoke on the topics because he was asked, and he's a straight shooter. So no lie, no chaser. You see what I'm saying? That's how his brother got down, and of course he's gonna defend his brother. All right, but we're gonna keep it moving. Headline hunting. Yo, hip hop singles to be on the lookout for and to put on your playlist right now as you hear this. Wolfface Joey, Bay, Jen Carter, Ben Gone, Samara Sin, Bad Brain, Seiji Oda, and O3 Guido, 7 Hour Drive, Yeet, Bill No Ways with the Yeet Mix, Tory Lane, Same Way, Twitch Tapes, Huncho, Bedrest, ASAP Nast, No Hammer. You see what I'm saying? These are your hip hop singles right now to definitely put on your playlist, okay? We are headline hunting. With them headline singles come the hot videos y'all should definitely check out if you haven't checked them out already. Montana 700, Getting Off, Little TJ and 42 Doug, Different, D Baby and Hurricane Wisdom, Third Eye Open, Young Bands, LMK, Belly Gang, Cushington, Introduction, BK, Thrula, Delilah, I Swear, Vizo, Cake and Rice, Holla, Da Boy and Rex Life Raj, Have Faith. Those are the hottest videos out right now. If you haven't listened to them, I suggest you get it on, get it cracking on the playlist. We headline hunting. Northeast West Coast residents gain decades over life over the century, especially women. Basically, in a nutshell, southern states like Oklahoma, Mississippi, and West Virginia have seen minimal improvements in life expectancy over the past century, with some showing less than 3 years of gain since the 1900s. Northeastern and westeastern states have experienced dramatic improvements, with Washington, D.C. seeing the most striking increase. Female life expectancy rose from 63.9 to 93 years. That's amazing in the last century, okay, in the last couple decades. You see what I'm saying? And it's like state policies on issues like tobacco control, health access, and environmental protections likely contribute to these persistent geographical health disparities. All right. Now, what they're saying is that from the 1900s until 2020 now, there hasn't been much growth in life expectancy. I mean, there has been for women and certain populations that live in the Northeast, the North in general, but not the South and the West Coast. All right. We're only living a couple months past what anyone would normally have lived in the 19th century. And that's an issue. But I would like to think that, you know, and I'm tied to spirituality, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm always going to have a spiritual bent on my biased opinions. And I would like to believe that, you know, the 100 years of slaveries within the states, you know what I'm saying, of the South, you have to understand, between curses being brought out, portals being opened by ritual, satanic ritual sacrifices, satanic ritual eating of black flesh and black skin, that would create a energy disparage across the land. You have to understand. And now I'm getting into my Native American cultural thinkings when it comes to these kinds of things, and when it's specifically impacting the South and the West. You see what I'm saying? I believe that they got hit the hardest with certain kinds of abominations. You see what I'm saying? Because what else would consider it? I mean, yeah, the poisoning of the food, water, and air, that's been going on for the last 100 years strong. You know what I'm saying? Although it's been going on longer than that. But that's not what decreases life expectancy. That's just what makes us die quicker, right? But it doesn't decrease life expectancy. We're talking about life expectancy away from natural death or natural causes. You see what I'm saying? And there's not much different in the last millennium, if you will. The findings paint a troubling picture. 8 South states, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, West Virginia, and Mississippi consistently show the weakest improvements in life expectancy, and some female life expectancy improved less than 3 years over an entire century, while male life expectancy gained less than 2 years since the 1950s. Okay, now y'all starting to see the issue there? You see what I'm saying? Cohort-specific patterns across states revealed wide disparities in mortality, the research writes. Some states have experienced little or no improvements in life expectancy from the 1900s to 2000 birth cohorts. So I say again, you know, and they can sit up here and be like, oh, well, what's going on? But we know what's going on. You see what I'm saying? I mean, again, not just because of the food, the poisoning of the water, the food and the air. You see what I'm saying? But we're also talking about, history of bad energy being created against cultures of people. You see what I'm saying? That's the main reason, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Like it gets deep and it gets real. You know what I mean? But that's it for the headline hunting. And I just want y'all to understand that no matter where you're at in this country, the stress that we deal with as a nation, within a nation, is going to continue to affect us negatively until we come together within ourselves positively. So let's get into the back of the house headlines. Okay, in the back of the house headlines, y'all already know what it is. The Pope. Now there's a new Pope, okay? And he calls himself Pope Leo. All right, he follows the Pope Leo lines. I'm sorry, I'd have to disagree with the Pope Leo lines because I don't believe anything has ever came good from Pope Leo lines. As a matter of fact, not just Pope Leo, but Pope Alexander the Sixth, Pope Julius the Second, Pope Leo the 10th, Pope Adrian the Sixth, Pope Clement the 7th, Pope Paul the 3rd, Pope Marcellus the 2nd, Pope Sixtus the 5th, and then 4 popes by the name of Pius. And trust me, they were anything but that because they were all in rule between 1475 and about 403, I want to say. And those are the worst times in the world, from the destruction of the Dark Ages and all of the science and spiritual advancements that we made in Spain to the enslavement of 1% of the black population of the planet. And 1% is still too much. But let me give you an idea about what I mean by I dislike the line of Pope Leo as he claims to call himself. Okay, Pope Leo X, I believe, was the worst. He oversaw the Counter-Reformation against the Protestant formation, the Lutheran formation, and the Angelicism. He oversaw the Spanish Inquisition and its tribunals, wars, prosecutions, and massacres. First, they started with French Christians against the Catholic Church. You know what I'm saying? And then they moved on everywhere else, you know what I'm saying, including Hawaii. You know what I mean? The rest is history, right? Especially all of South America, right? Oversaw the St. Bartholomew Day Massacre. Well, maybe not Pope Leo X, but his predecessors, okay? 14 popes was named Leo of the Roman Catholic Church, okay? And mind you, and then Pope Leo XIII, you know, he ruled from 1878 to 1903, the one I was referring to. He oversaw the Portuguese invading Hawaii through the guise of immigration, who were the Inquisition loyalists. And the Inquisition is responsible for millions of deaths of black people across the planet at the time. You see what I'm saying? The Massey case, you know, I hope we forgot about that. I suggest you look into that. The Kaha Hawaii murder, which basically made Hawaii annexed into America. You see what I'm saying? I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. You know, Pope Alexander, he's the one that really kicked it off. He oversaw the fall of Grenada, with the last Muslim stronghold in Spain, the Moorish nation. You see what I'm saying? The Nazid Emirate, okay, which marked the centuries of long reconquista that the Christians embarked on in the entire Iberian Peninsula. Okay, that he oversaw the Alhambra Decree, which also targeted the Jewish communities that King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella wrote into law. Okay, they were the ones who oversaw the expulsion of the Moriscos. Those are 3 million Muslims from Spain. Okay, the Andalusia nation, Andalusia, Spain, Cordoba, Spain. Okay, for centuries we were in Europe, for centuries, for thousands of years before this happened. And all of this started with Pope Alexander and all through the Pope Leo lines. Okay, so while the new Pope is calling himself Pope Leo, I mean, which one are you naming yourself after? Pope 10, who oversaw the counter-formation and killed Lutherans by the dozens? Or Pope Leo the 13th? You see what I'm saying? Who oversaw the Portuguese Spanish Inquisition, which destroyed South America. Which Pope Leo are you referring to when you're naming yourself Pope Leo? Pope Leo? What is it, the 16th? I'm curious. You see what I'm saying? And mind you, these are the popes that were ruling during slavery. I want everyone that's hearing me to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. These are the popes that were ruling. These are the popes who were ruling the Bibles that they were reading when they were slicing us up, destroying our babies, and selling us off on Black Fridays. All right? Do we understand each other? This is the reason why there is a disparity between the spiritual systems of Christians and the Muslim people. And I'm not talking about the Islamic cultures. There's many Islamic cultures and many Islamic sciences, but I'm talking about the Muslim faith of the Abrahamic code, okay, of the 2 promises of Ishmael. Okay, that's where the Muslim faith begins. That's in which I'm referring to. That was the faith that was ruling over Europe for 1,000 years that they call the Dark Ages, what was really the advancement of spiritual science. All right. So I wanted to hit that in the back of the house headlines because I want y'all to understand that. But we'll get into it on the next episode and even more. But this is your man's Moon Man on the mic. Thank y'all once again for tuning in, and I will catch y'all on the next episode.
I don't mean no disrespect, but no way. I can't listen to you, I do this my own way.